My name's Scott, this is Paul.
Hello.
Hello, and we are here to teach you all about beach detecting, and I'm learning it myself. So whether you are brand new to detecting altogether, or you're an experienced detectorist, but you've never tried beach detecting before, we're hoping to give you an overview and kind of dispel some myths and give you loads of information, everything you need to know about beach detecting. Paul is a very, very experienced detectorist, and I'm not. And Paul's been taking me out to teach me loads of stuff in loads of different locations in the UK. And we recently went out on my first beach detecting session. So we're going to find out why we should metal detect on the beach. And these are the 5 reasons. You should metal detect on the beach because it's great exercise. It's great for socialising. You can learn about local history. You can get out into nature and you can find a great range of finds. What about exercise? Is it good for exercise?
Yeah, good. You're out in the fresh air. You're getting your steps in. You're meeting people.
Right. So let's talk about what you need when you want to go beach detecting, because it is slightly different to detecting inland, isn't it? What would you say? What differs about it?
It's sandy and it gets everywhere.
Yeah. So obviously you still need your detector. Do you need a specialist type of detector?
You're going to do just the dry sand, where the holidaymakers sit, blah, blah, blah. You're fine with anything. But you get onto the wet sand, if it's got black sand where it's mineralised and a lot of junk, then you head more into the specialised. Couple of £100 up.
Yeah. Okay.
And you can start on the wet sand with one of those. Coil will be waterproof, so
you can get in a little bit, even if it's in the pools of the beach.
Yeah.
So Paul, how do you learn about local history through beach detecting?
Well, you can, like the beach we went to. It's called Bullet Beach.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that before.
You ask yourself a question: why do they call it Bullet Beach? Well, within 10 minutes, you found out why it was called Bullet Beach.
Yeah.
And then you look further out, and there's the 2 forts across the river. Well, they were used during World War II. Between them, there was a rope to stop submarines coming up the river. So, yeah, the history's there. If you're going to put the groundwork in, look at your surroundings. Your beaches go back thousands of years, so you've got like that history was used by the Romans going up the river to get to the River Trent. To get inland, you've got history right back for forever.
I was amazed because we went to Cleethorpes, that's the place we went to. I've been there before and I hadn't noticed any of this stuff because we were on a different part of the beach. Maybe it's slightly less pedestrianised, like near the pier. And there's all this stuff that I'd been missing, and it's great. What about the type of finds that you find then? Do they vary from detecting inland? Is it different?
They can do. They can be similar. Again, depending on what part of the coast you live on, you can find everything from Roman right up to modern day stuff. Like the majority of seaside resorts are going to be Victorian onwards, because that's when people decided or were allowed to have their holidays. So they had a week off work and weekends. Head to the beach, Sunday best, you know what it's like, pocket full of coinage. And back then the beaches were very, very busy, and there was a lot different to what they are now.
So that's one thing that amazed me, and that I didn't anticipate, was when I first went detecting and everybody would say, oh, this field's been done for 20 years, but they're still finding stuff, and then it was explained to me that because it was farmland and the plough was working through the soil, it was turning stuff over and you're still finding new things, which is great. And technology gets better and people miss them. But I suppose on the beach, it's getting turned all the time.
Twice a day generally. And it also works with your moon phases. So when you've got a full moon, your tides get bigger.
Right.
And then when you've got a spring tide, your tides are even higher. So if it's windy, This all comes down to learning as well, learning your beach, because when you've got wind over tide, it's like a bulldozer going up the beach, across the beach, into the beach. So depending on your tide height, your wind strength, direction, depends on how your sand gets moved.
Okay, and that's opening up your possibilities. Of
Yeah,
what you can find.
it can either bring sand on the beach, move sand down the beach.
In a way, you could be detecting the same place a lot more frequently on a beach.
You can't. Yeah, it comes to a point where, for a while, your finds can dry up, and then you've just got to wait or go find somewhere else. Because what you've got to think about, if sand's moved from there, it's gone somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's either come up the beach or down the beach. So you've got to try and judge, looking at visual signs, markers, how your sand height on walls, on groins, dips and hollers in the sand.
Cool.
It all points to where possibly you're going to find stuff.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's luck, judgment, and Mother Nature you're up against.
Yeah. What about accessories? Do you need? Well, let us know what do we need.
Well, again, dry sand. You want start off with one of the little basic plastic sand scoop, just to dig and filter your stuff out.
Yeah.
And you can waft it over your coil. So if there's something in your sand scoop.
Right.
And then if you're going to venture out onto the wet sand, you're looking at your bigger metal sand scoops.
This allows me to say something actually. One misconception I had, which I told Paul about already, is I'd watched some of Paul's detecting videos on beaches before, and I saw beautiful golden sand, and when he was detecting in the drier sand areas, the sand scoop was brilliant at, like, you're lifting it up and the sand just falls away and then your find is left there and it's great. But when you're in the Cleethorpes wet, muddy sand like we were, you lift your scoop up and you've just still got a big chunk of earth there, and then you've got to try and
find a puddle and
you've got to douse your big block of earth, and then it'll slowly filter out. So I think once again that's kind of shows that depends where you want to detect. A scoop is useful, it's kind of essential, isn't it? You won't want to go with a shovel.
It depends. If you're on stony beaches, you know, some areas on the southeast coast, south coast, east coast, they've got pebbles.
So you're going to have to assess your beach to know what you want, but if you're going for sandy beach, definitely get a sand scoop. And then if you go in stony beaches, just a shovel then?
You're fine with a shovel, but really you could do with a pinpointer, because if you're chasing stuff about in pebbles, it's going in, back up.
Yeah. And lastly, let's look at like little extra things that you can take that might make your experience good. So that could be, we were chatting about this, and we said about mobile phone. We said about bin bag for if you find any litter or rubbish.
Yeah.
Notebook in case you wanted to make notes about anything, and also make sure you've got a finds pouch so that you can actually put your stuff in there, so you haven't got to put it in your pockets. So we've got a detector, that's cool. What about clothing? What clothing do we need?
Summertime, footwear, always.
Right.
You know, you don't want to be standing on a broken bottle needle.
So durable.
Footwear, whether it's Crocs, everybody's favourite, flip-flops, wetsuit, shoes, boots, just something like that, keep your feet safe. Also, if you're paddling, you've got weaver fish, and you get stung by one of them, you aren't going to know about it.
Okay.
As long as you've got your shoes.
Yeah.
You know, that's summertime, wintertime, you're going to be wellies. Wrap up well. Obviously, don't restrict your movement, because you can't bend down when you've got a belly as well.
Yeah.
You know, you can get good quality clothes reasonably.
Lightweight stuff, which is good. Anything else you think we need or think we would take?
Well, again, depending on what kind of beach you do. I mean, our beach, the tide goes out 1.5 miles. So in some places you don't get a mobile phone signal, so I always have a VHF radio.
Oh, that's cool.
With channel 16 on, so I can get through to the Coast Guard if anything goes wrong. You know, it may not go wrong, but it happens.
Yeah.
It can happen to anybody. You know, so you need some way of getting in touch with somebody that's going to come and help you.
That's a really good point. So if you are venturing far out, or if you are a bit more unsure, having something there to keep you safer is a really good idea. So this is a really good point about safety, actually, because I've only been once and I've been with Paul. He's guided me where to go, but make sure you are going in a place that you're very comfortable and that you have got, you know, access to it and it's safe. So muddy areas are particularly dangerous, and I'm assuming
so if you're walking on sand and you start sinking, stop and follow your tracks backwards. Don't keep walking, because if you stand, I mean, you can find quicksand as well. So, you know, stop and follow your tracks back. Get a tide book.
Get a tide book.
Get a tide book.
Yeah.
You get one from your Coast Guard or your local lifeboat station. It'll give you the full tide list for the year. Plan where you're going on your tide. I get X amount of time detecting before I have to make my way back, else I'm stuck.
So
it's just safety. Think about what you're doing before.
Yeah, so planning that is really good, and tide book is a great idea.
A tide book, it's only £1.
So now we're going to talk about the rules. Yeah, we're going to talk about the rules. So I was quite surprised when we went how many rules there were for where we could detect, because whenever I've been detecting inland, it's just been like, have we got permission to go on this land? Yes. But on the beaches, it's a completely different story.
It's similar. You used to get a permit from the Crown Foreshore. You're licensed to detect between the mean, which is the average high water, and your low water points.
Okay.
So everywhere where the tide goes up and down.
Okay.
Below the low water tide is governed by a different licence from the receiver of the wreck. So that is a totally different. That's underwater.
Oh, so you need a different licence for that?
That's a different one.
So this first one, this foreshore licence, is that literally you just log in and you can do it all online?
It's all on the Crown website. You just log in, fill in your details. Yes, you'll agree to the terms and conditions, and that gives you permission to detect from low water to high water.
That's cool.
Above high water, on the dry sand, where people sit, play, that's generally governed by your local council.
Right.
Some councils, they will make you buy a permit. You will read in the terms that you fill your holes.
Right.
Blah blah. Make it look nice. Don't leave it like a bomb site.
So it's basic code of conduct, showing that you understand that.
Yeah.
So what is the procedure, Paul, if you found something and you deemed it of historical value?
Again, this all comes under the Treasure Act. If it falls into the Treasure Act, or you have a feeling it falls into the Treasure Act, then report it. Take it to your flow. It's either going to be a yes or a no.
In case you're brand new to this and you don't know what a flow is, that's your fines liaison officer, and every county has one of these officers. And if you find anything that you think is of historical significance, please report it. You are kind of bound by that act. It's law, isn't it?
The Treasure Act is.
So it is law, and if you report it, not only is it going to help our culture, because it will be properly documented, you will also probably find out a lot more about that item, because they'll do a historical check on it, so it'll actually be good for you as well. And you will get the item back at some point, unless it is deemed to be of such significance that it needs to be in a museum from somewhere, and you'll always have the pride that you put it there.
Dangerous things, bombs, bullets, they're the ones you're going to have to call the Coast Guard. You're obviously on that side of the fence. So call the Coast Guard, tell them where you are, what you've found. Don't play with it. Don't dig it up, or don't dig it up anymore. Don't bang it. Tell them where you found it, and let them come deal with bomb disposal. I think it was last year or the year before when there'd been 2 crashed training aeroplanes, and they crashed absolutely laden with munitions, and then we had a storm. I think it was a late March storm, and they both got uncovered. So
the beauty of the tide, as we said.
So obviously, to stop people going and raiding them of the munitions, the Coast Guard sealed the beach off, got the bomb disposal in, and 6:15 one morning there were 2 almighty bangs, big clouds of smoke, and that was them gone.
If you do find anything dangerous, please, don't be a hero and try to pull it out. Call the Coast Guard straight away.
But again, things like live bullets, obviously if you've got a firearms certificate, you're going to be okay carrying them. But if you get stopped carrying a live round, you're going to get into a lot of trouble. Yeah. But generally you can keep them safe. Don't put them anywhere they're going to bang and that. Take them to a police station and let their firearms people deal with them.
And if you're not sure, take it somewhere.
Modern fines, now a lot of police forces have stopped taking in lost property.
Okay.
So there is a law, theft by finding, which have a look into that because it's quite interesting.
That sounds good.
But you have got to make an effort to find the owner, whether it's a post on social media.
Okay.
Like, as long as you've made the effort to find the, you know, if it's jewellery or...
Yeah.
As long as you've made the effort, you should be fine.
So just to summarise, make sure you have a relevant permit if you need it, and contact your local authority to see, depending on which area you want to detect in. If you are stuck and you still don't understand this, contact us or contact a local detectorist group, because they will know all the rules in your area. So do that, and if you find anything, please report it to Fines Liaison Officer. And also, if you find anything scary, anything that you're worried about, report it to the Coast Guard. Right, so I think that kind of wraps up the rules. So that's why you should go beach detecting. Keeps you fit, helps you socialise. You'll find a great range of finds, and it's just an ever interesting place to be anyway.